Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Voice of Guo on June 29th, 2020. Don't forget to click like, subscribe, and click the bell so you know the next time we upload a video. And also, don't forget to leave a comment down below and let us know what you think about what is happening in China. Now, let's bring our attention to Hong Kong. How the Hong Kong police are trying to stop silent protesters from having a peaceful protest.
Protesters were arrested by cops during the silent march. Even though the CCP authorities tried to put lots of pressures on stopping the Hong Kong people from taking the streets, the people of Hong Kong showed the world their firm will to resist the evil law. Despite the opposition notice, the people still initiated the silent protest for anti-national security law. The silent protest was held on 28th June. This peaceful protest was severely suppressed by the Hong Kong police. Many heavily armed police officers were checking belongings of pedestrians. Police insulted the public for being stupid and mentally handicapped, used pepper spray indiscriminately, and arrested innocent pedestrians who were passing by. A total of 55 were arrested. 2 of them were district councillors.
Okay, thank you very much for the reporting. Next news. Police arresting
the National People's Congress.
Okay, so next news. Regarding police arresting a kid's father in front of the child.
Child cries upon seeing his father arrested during grocery shopping. The police arrested 53 people in Mongkok on a large scale, including citizens who were shopping for fruits at the market. A boy witnessed his father being pulled into the police blockade and was wrongfully arrested. Both he and his mother cried silently as they waved goodbye to him as he boarded the police bus. The police were reported to have rounded up tourists on Mindun Road. A man was pulled into the police cordon and separated from his wife and children. Upon seeing this, the boy grabbed his mother and wept silently, seemingly frightened. As his mother was comforting him, she was asking the right police officer about her husband's likely whereabouts. She insisted that their car's closed-circuit television could prove that the family of 3 was traveling together and had never been separated. The private car key was still on her husband. Regardless, her husband was still taken to the police bus. The mother picked up her son, who proceeded to wave his father away whilst shouting after him, triggering sympathy from onlookers. The mother comforted her son and told him to be strong, stating that Daddy will come back tomorrow. Numerous elders arrested whilst passing by. The boy's mother received an interview after the arrest of her husband. She cried that they were just passing by. We really were just shopping. We drove to the market to buy fruit and then walked across the road to buy ice cream, she stated during the interview with a drink still in her hand. The arrested included many passers-by, including many elderly people. At the moment of being arrested, people screamed and shouted the following: "I got off the car and ate here." "Is it guilty to go shopping? You told us to come over." And "I walked over to find my son." Some individuals held up the 5 demands not one less gesture together with the arrested people, vowing to never bow to tyranny. In addition to indiscriminate arrests, the police randomly stop-searched civilians in the street in Mongkok. Some netizens photographed 2 boys holding paper bags from chain clothing stores who were intercepted by the police on Portland Street. The netizens stated, inside the bags were newly bought clothes, yet they were still investigated, illustrating that Hong Kong is more terrifying than anywhere else in the world.
Okay, thank you very much for the reporting. This is typical fear and terror and fear tactics, but you won't work on the brave people of Hong Kong. Next news. More violence that is happening at Yuen Long Station in Hong Kong.
The National People's Congress started translating the Hong Kong National Security Law yesterday. Many supporters were roaming the streets of Lumping Station. A woman and a child were hurt during conflicts. Reporters were also attacked amongst the chaos caused by this group of CCP supporters, and 2 police arrived and isolated the area. Yesterday afternoon, around 20 people in Protect Alliance Hong Kong shirts set up a station at Lumping Bridge, collecting signatures in favor of the national security law. A woman with a 9-year-old kid wrote a curse word on the signature board, which led to beating from a person in white shirt. The son tried to help but got hurt around the eye. Seeing this, some pedestrians came forward and argued, but were insulted verbally. Furthermore, 2 reporters were snatched off their gears and threatened during confrontation. As more people were offended by their behavior, they were asked to remove their station and leave. Someone even called the police. However, the people in white shirts were even more antagonized and hostile towards everyone until armed police arrived. A woman in white shirts who was involved in the fights tried to escape but couldn't. The mother and the son were escorted to the police station and later to the hospital, while this group of CCP supporters and 3 local citizens were taken in for questioning. Nevertheless, people were worried that this won't be pursued by the police and they will eventually get released.
Okay, thank you for the reporting. Next news. More violence. Even 9-year-olds are getting beat up.
The mom's heartbroken. They even beat up a 9-year-old child. The CCP supporters in white shirts shamelessly argued with pedestrians at the Langping subway station, and soon resorted to violence toward innocent pedestrians. Ms. Zhang, the mom of the injured boy, was still upset when interviewed. She condemned the white shirts for being out of the line and even beating up a 9-year-old kid. She tried to call the police, but the few people in blue shirts stopped her, claiming that those white shirts were, quote, always like that, unquote. After police arrived, those in blue shirts joined the white shirts. It was clear that they belonged to the same group. Prince Wang Jiyue, the previous scholarism spokesman, reported that he saw the white shirts attacking a photographer. The photographer decided not to press charge, and another victim went to the police station to make a statement. On Facebook, Prince Wang Jiyue condemned the attackers who supported the Hong Kong national security law. He also questioned the police for releasing attackers without any attempt to collect evidence. He believed the police was encouraging the violence.
All right, thank you very much for the reporting. Now we can see that the Hong Kong police pretty much has no difference compared to Antifa. Now, next news regarding the Hong Kong security law about to be passed.
The national security law is to be implemented immediately after its passing tomorrow. However, relevant law proposals have never been released. Many Democrats and legal professionals have criticized the Chinese Communist Party's contempt for Hong Kong's system. The national security law can directly affect 700,000 people in Hong Kong, but even the chief executive of Hong Kong and Secretary for Justice have not seen the exact proposal so far. It is hard to believe that Hong Kong is still under one country and 2 systems. Yesterday, the Hong Kong and Taiwan TV show City Forum discussed the national security law and openly questioned the Chinese Communist Party's non-transparency regarding this issue, and commented, "How could it be this ridiculous? Do they just want us to not ask questions and stay silent? How can one count this as one country, 2 systems?" He criticized the Chinese Communist Party's legislative methods as black box political operations and referred to the Chinese Communist Party's method as dead crabs, describing what the Chinese Communist Party is doing as crashing dead crabs with rocks.
Okay, now we want to bring you some details regarding the Hong Kong's national security law and what will happen to you if you break one of the rules.
Hong Kong security law could mean life sentence for offenders. People found guilty under China's new national security legislation for Hong Kong could face a life sentence. I believe the punishment may not be 3 years or 10 years in jail. Ye Guoqian, a Hong Kong delegate to the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress, which began reviewing a draft of the bill on Sunday, told a reporter. The national security law has raised the concern that Beijing is further eroding the extensive autonomy promised at the handover. The Hong Kong Bar Association Vice Chairperson Ye Qiaoqi criticized that the national security legislation skipped the public consultation period and pointed out the conflicts with common law when judges could set judgments without a jury. The progressive lawyer group also expressed its concerns. It says will allow the Beijing authority to arrest and lock up anyone in Hong Kong they consider threatening national security. The legislation disregards due process and is far more draconian than the extradition bill of 2019. The national security law will have a serious long-term impact on Hong Kong's autonomy and the rule of law and the way of life as we know it, the group said in a statement on Facebook.
All right, thank you very much for the reporting. Next news about a new program that's coming to Hong Kong called the Hong Kong Restart Program. And we want to give you some detail regarding what this program is for and how much this program is going to cost.
The authoritarian government used public relations and charges Lin Zheng $500 million to supposedly help Hong Kong restart with their public relations service plan. The Hong Kong government tried to whitewash with the Hong Kong Restart program on the eve of the 3rd anniversary of Lin Zheng's appointment as chief executive. The government announced that the contract for the plan was awarded by Consulum FC Limited Liability Company with a contract value of nearly 50 million Hong Kong dollars. Looking through the information, Consulum, headquartered in the United Kingdom, had a long experience of whitewashing the dictatorship. After the Saudi Arabian regime airstrikes Yemen and is accused of killing Saudi Arabian journalist Jamal Khashoggi in 2018, Prince Mohammed invited Consulum to plan an image project for the country. The company's other government clients include Bahrain and Djibouti, which are considered countries ruled by dictatorship. The Information Service Department announced on Monday that the Hong Kong Restart Project PR service plan received a total of 7 bids, which are all awarded by Consulum FC Limited Liability Company, with a contract value of 6.2 million US dollars, which is approximately 48.73 million Hong Kong dollars in a 1-year service period. According to the press department, Consulum will formulate communication strategies and marketing plans for the Hong Kong government and will conduct local and international research to formulate a crisis management plan with the aim of revitalizing the outside world, invest in Hong Kong as a place for investment, business, and living. According to the Consulum website, it has 5 branches, including ones in Bahrain, the UAE, and the United Kingdom. The contracted Consulum FC Limited Liability Company is a Dubai-registered company, and the company established Consulum HK Limited in Hong Kong in May this year to hold shares in the Cayman Islands offshore company. The company's registered address is a virtual office in Central International Financial Center, and the office provides company secretarial services, including answering inquiries, receiving letters, business registered address, and office rentals. The Hong Kong government described Consulum as a communication consultant who specially provides support to local governments. The data shows that the company's most well-known client is Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, whose human rights records are known to be inferior. Saudi Arabia has erupted military clashes in Yemen since 2015, and Saudi Arabia has continued to launch airstrikes on Yemen, killing a large number of civilians, and has been repeatedly condemned by the United Nations. On October 2, 2018, Saudi Arabian journalist Jamal Khashoggi of the United States Washington Post entered the Saudi area in Turkey and was strangled and then corpse-splitted. The report of the United Nations Special Investigation Team believes that there is sufficient reliable evidence to show Mohammed is involved in this incident and is responsible for it. British media Guardian reported on October 2018 that Mohammed hired Consulum as a public relations consultant for the Saudi regime. Their work includes assisting the Saudi government in formulating communication strategies, such as holding large meetings, arranging outbound visits, and promoting Saudi tourism. Regarding the whitewashing project, the United States Department of Justice documents shows that Consulum was once employed by the Saudi government's General Culture Authority to assist Saudi Arabia to participate in Cannes Film Festival for the first time to promote Saudi film industry. Statistics show that Consulum's other government clients, including Bahrain in the Middle East and Djibouti in East Africa, both are countries having poor human rights records and are considered countries ruled by dictatorship for a long time. The former owner of Consulum, Bell Pottinger, was notorious for serving the dictator. The company had served the Syrian president Mrs. Bashar and the former South African president Jacob Zuma. Slogans such as manipulating domestic public opinion, including opening a large number of Twitter accounts to spread the relevant comments, are believed to divert public attention from Zuma government's corruption and thus closed in 2017. As early as the end of April this year, the Hong Kong government invited public relations companies to participate in the Hong Kong Restart Project international publicity plan, but many internationally well-known public relations companies withdrew, including French company MSL and American company Edelman.
Wow, that's a really long report. Now we know that when your city is going down, a lot of special interest group will have an interest to get a piece of you. But I guess if Hong Kong does not fall into the hands of the CCP, we know that Hong Kong will at least fall into the hands of Islam. Now, finally, last news. We bring you more information regarding what is currently happening in the rainstorm that is continue to destroy villages and cities in China.
Severe storms and floods in China continue. The Central Meteorological Observatory issued yellow rainstorm warnings for 27 consecutive days in 7 provinces and cities, including Guizhou, Hunan, Hebei, Henan, Anhui, Jiangsu, and Shanghai. The rainstorms in these regions have a range of 100 to 200 millimeters of precipitation. Currently, 13 rivers in Sichuan, Chongqing, Guangxi, and other regions have flooded above the warning line. Mianning County government announced via Weibo on June 28 that Yihai Town, Gaoyang Street, and Linshan District were seriously affected, and there have been 12 deaths and 10 disappearances. According to the authorities, nearly 10,000 people have been directly affected in the county, and more than 7,700 people have evacuated. Since the flood hit China this month, a total of 12.56 million people have been affected. 78 people have died in 13 provinces, more than 8,000 houses have been damaged, and authorities have evacuated 730,000 people. This is the largest casualty in a single area throughout the historical floods in China. The central government allocated 200 million yuan to combat the severe floods in Hunan, Guizhou, and Sichuan province. The CCTV reported that Xi Jinping made clear instructions for flood prevention and relief work. According to CCTV, Xi ordered full efforts in flood prevention and emergency rescue. However, the floods in Hubei province were not alleviated, and the safety issues of the Three Gorges Dam rose to the surface. While some Chinese netizens criticized the authority for their slow response, they also criticized the government for concealing the floods. Comments suggest that the CCP does not value human life, but deems as a leak. Similar to the CCP virus situation, the authorities did not inform the public early enough to prevent the tremendous damage.
Alright, thank you very much for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. Those are all of the news for today. Tune in once again tomorrow and see you next time. Bye bye.